What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. Yeah, the rumor is that despite everything, Assassin's Creed Shadows is currently selling at around 300,000 pre-orders before its launch next month, which is curious when you really have the at least the attempt to stop the full down panic of its shareholders, because as we've brought to you through these videos, Ubisoft is in some serious trouble. They've shut down a number of their satellite studios, and the original sin of that Skull and Bones game, where less than 3,000 people played it, but it cost them over $500 million. They've never recovered from that, and just a slew of failures. The last time we talked about Assassin's Creed specifically, because they've had no shortage of controversies, it was the fact that the much touted ability, or touted, I've heard it both ways, to go, I lied, I've only heard it one way, to make Yasuke and Naoe equal playable characters, something we first saw in Syndicate with the Evie and Jacob Fry siblings, saying that, nah, it doesn't really matter. You could play as one character for most of the game, basically nullifying all of their previous promotion of how important it was to have the two different protagonists and how incredibly authentic it was going to be. Well, still, it appears to have worked a little bit, because 300,000 may not seem like a lot, and I don't think it is, especially when you find out how much they need to sell to be profitable. It's more than you would expect with the huge amount of controversies that we've had, and just the overall decline in property of Assassin's Creed, of quality rather of the property. Assassin's Creed has around 300,000 pre-orders. This is not mentioning whether it's digital or physical media, but I'm going to wager the vast majority of those are digital pre-orders. Tom Henderson here at Insider Gaming noting that it had less than half the pre-orders Star Wars Outlaws rather had less than half the pre-orders currently has in the same time period before launch, comparing this to the pre-orders for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, noting that the game sold between 400 to, so this is 100,000 less at this point in the timeline than Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is going to be used as their gold standard, even if it's far from the best Assassin's Creed game. And look, it's certainly the one packed with the most open world content. Cassandra or Alexios, they're great. They're fine. It's a great game. It has a bunch of fantasy elements that are all explained through ISU technology, which I like. It's a good chance, but when you get those games, you don't get the hardcore Assassin and Assassin's Creed games, and that has had a lot of disconnect. And either way, it's a metric they're going to compare it to. You can see here pre-orders tracking solidly in line with those of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, second most successful entry in the franchise. They note here that the back catalog, there's been a bunch of Steam sales. I've been guilty of buying a bunch of them. Notably over here is through the last quarter, it was Assassin's Creed Mirage, hit an all-time peak of 7,000. I found this game boring. I've played every single Assassin's Creed game to 100% completion. I got to Mirage. I played through the beginning. I got into Baghdad, and it was just, I'm bored. I have not gone back to it. I will eventually, but I've not gone back to it. You can see the player base just abandoned that. But they are making money selling their back catalog. You see here, someone asked, was Odyssey the second biggest revenue generating game, or was it the second biggest unit sales generating game in its earlier? Was it selling a bunch, or was it selling a bunch and then it was selling microtransactions, basically? Just thinking it had more in-game spending than previous Assassin's Creed. Yeah. And this goes into, our players going to have the same goodwill when playing Shadows and purchasing the alternate costumes and things like that. Odyssey is the second biggest performer in the franchise's history, very close to Valhalla in terms of units sold on the comparable time basis. At the time when we launched Odyssey, it set a new benchmark for the franchise. Yeah, they had just come off of Assassin's Creed Origins and Bayek and showing the assassins being created. So they had a bunch of goodwill that they don't have right now. You see here what we could see for the curve that we've been observing after just reopening the digital pre-orders of Shadows. It's really supportive of what we cannot see, but of course the bulk pre-orders for the next 5 weeks is still ahead of us. So what we see today is really positive, and of course we'll continue monitoring this. And this is just that reminder that they need between 8 to 12 million copies sold in order to have profitability. This said, of course, by the executive producer, Mark Alexis Cotier, here when he said, when you look at who succeeds, at least in the AAA space, so what I'm going to say applies to mostly premium games, more traditional kind of games. You have 10 games in any given year that will sell about 10 million copies. The reason I'm quoting the 10 million copies kind of mark is from what I've seen and how I've seen costs, our costs of competitors and everybody. Everything leaks in our industry, so you have privileged information on where the competition is going. But mostly, I estimate that 10 million copies, give or take 2 million copies, is mostly what you need to break even. But you have only 10 games that reach that every year. Yeah, so good luck. You think Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be one of the 10 games that reaches this? I don't know, especially given the track record recently. They're going to have to do some heavy spin for this one. Either way, you let me know what you think. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.